The past is a mirror to the future, or so a friend once said to me. I did not believe it then. I do now. The past walks with us. Its face is the face of all those we have hated, all we have loved, all we have failed. They say that to be an agent of the Imperial Inquisition is to see the true horror of the universe and still have the will to prevail. As with all things, there is another face to the truth. I have looked on the terrors of the universe and cast them down. I have judged billions and forgiven some. I have known victory and touched defeat. And the lesson that all my years as an Inquisitor have taught me is that it is not enough to prevail. We have to endure the poison of history. We have to survive our own sins. My name is Gregor Eisenhorn, and these deeds were mine. Hunting the recidivist Murdin Iklone, I came to Hubris in the dormant of 240.M41, as the Imperial sidereal calendar has it. Dormant lasted 11 months of Hubris's 29-month lunar year, and the only signs of life were the custodians patrolling the precincts of the hibernation tombs. Where are the tomb's custodians?
They are making their rounds.
Knowing we approach? Knowing we expect to meet them?
I will check.
I had heard of the bitter cold and prayed to the Emperor that I would never feel it again.
How?
Stay back! Processional 212 was a hibernation tomb at the west end of the Great Imperial Avenue. It housed 12,142 members of the Hubris ruling elite. Be careful, Loris. You know how dangerous Iklone is. He's an animal, a dangerous one, but we'll put him down.
We have him cornered. That'll make him more of a threat than ever. Watch your back.
You too, Eisenhorn.
I admit I was excited,
eager to close and conclude a business that had lasted 6 years. iClone had evaded me for 6 whole years. I studied his methods every day and dreamed of him every night. Now, I could smell him. In every direction, rows and rows of ice berths ranged down the smooth basalt chambers. It was like walking into the Imperium's grandest morgue. Their eyes were dark and unforthcoming, as though they had done this mindlessly, by order. All my life, I have had a reputation for being cold, unfeeling. I am not, but I possess a singular force of will. To feel pain, fear, or grief is a luxury I cannot afford. Throughout my career it has served me well to steel myself against all that this wretched galaxy can throw at me. Loris Vibben had served with me for 5.5 years. In that period she had saved my life twice. When I recruited her from the clan slums of Tornish, it was for her combat skills. But I came to value her for her sharp mind, soft wit, and clear head. I stared down at her body for a moment. I believe I may have uttered her name. I made a promise to myself. I would kill iClone with this gun.
Eisenhorn? Gregor, is that you? You're dead, you know, Gregor. Dead like they all are. Step out and make it quick.
He was good, I'll give him that. My legs actually twitched, almost starting to walk me clear of cover into the open. iClone was infamous across a dozen settled systems for his mind powers and mesmeric tone. How else had he managed to get these dark-eyed fools to do his bidding? But I have similar skills, and I have honed them well. Show yourself first.
What makes you think you can catch me this time, Gregor? You've failed so many times before.
The sleepers were waking, their frigid bodies sore with hibernation sickness, trapped in their caskets with no one to aid them. I bid Betancourt alert the custodians. Apparently relief crews were on their way. But why? Why was iClone doing this?
Admit it, Gregor. You don't want to kill me. You want to join me. Feeling cold, Eisenhorn? You'll join these corpses soon.
I hesitated. A merciful headshot would have spared her everything. But once awake, the hierarchy of hubris would not understand a mercy killing. Do you think me weak? Flawed? To set my duty before her suffering? I would gladly ignore one life in agony if I could save 100, 1,000 more. For I have the moral strength required of an Inquisitor. Mankind must suffer so that mankind can survive. It's that simple. But to this day, I still dream of the slow death to which I abandoned her. The screaming, the pounding. God, Emperor, help me, I will never forget that. Thousands of frantic souls waking up to face an agonizing death. The cryogenerators had come from the ships that first carried humans to this world. The tombs had been raised around them and kept operating for thousands of years. This was where iClone's men had artificially triggered the revival process. A key component of this mysterious device had been removed. There's nowhere left to run, recidivist.
You cannot stop us, Inquisitor. Your Imperium's days are numbered.
Perhaps, but yours ends here. No more words, heretic. I punched the gun so hard into his mouth the trigger guard broke his lower teeth.
Most perturbative.
Amos?
A codifier of unique design, similar in layout to the mind impulse units used by the hallowed Adeptus Mechanicus to govern the linkage between human brain and god machine. It may be illicit or stolen. The Adeptus Mechanicus would be most interested.
Either way, they're not going to know that. This is inquisitorial evidence.
Quite so.
Where is this off-worlder, this Eisenhorn? Arrest him!
High Custodian.
You will be detained until...
No. I am an Inquisitor of the God Emperor of Mankind, Ordo Xenos. I will cooperate in any investigation, but you will not and cannot detain me. Do you understand?
An Inquisitor? Thousands are dead. This desecration, the highborn of hubris, violated by a...
A murderer. A follower of darkness who now lies dead under a plastic sheet on the upper landing platform. I mourn the great loss hubris has suffered tonight. But if I had not been here at all to raise the alarm, Who knows what catastrophe Ico may have wrought? Or even his overall ambition.
Cyclone, the recidivist? You must brief me on this entire event.
I shall prepare a report and bring it to you. I will have questions for you too, but you have plenty to deal with right now. We made our way out. Betancourt presented the junior custodians with a formal register of evidence to be stored for my inspection. The list included the casket and the bodies of Iklone and his men. None would be tampered with or even searched until I had looked at them. Betancourt made these requirements abundantly clear. We took Vibben with us. It looked as though we may have had to remain on Hubris for a week, maybe longer if Karpal proved difficult. But the investigation could not wait. As soon as I returned to the gun cutter, I went to see Loink, our astropath.
Master?
Contact the main Astropathicus enclave here on Hubris and request a full transcript of off-world traffic for the past 6 weeks. Also, any record of unlicensed traffic, individuals using their own astropaths. Whatever they can make available. And a little threat that it's an Inquisitor requiring this data wouldn't hurt.
Will you be requiring an auto-seance?
Not yet, but I will eventually. I will give you time to prepare.
Master, is it true that the female Vibben is dead?
Yes, Loink.
Ah, I thought it was quiet.
The comment wasn't as callous as it sounded. Loris Vibben was a latent psyker. Whilst she was alive, I could hear the unconscious broadcasting of her young, eager mind. And yet my psychic abilities at the time were undeveloped compared to Loink's. Loink, although a young man, was already physically deteriorating from the demands of a psyker's life. He hadn't been with me long. My previous astropath had been killed trying to translate a warp cipher 6 weeks before. I spent an hour with Amos in his cramped, data-slate-filled room preparing a report for Karpal. I set out the basic details, reserving anything I felt he didn't need to know. I accounted for my actions. I made Amos check them against local law. In truth, I was bulletproof against local legislation, but I wanted to check anyway. An Amalasian prides himself on working with the structures of Imperial society, not above or beyond them, or through them, as a mono-dominant might. I wanted Karpal and the senior officials of Hubris on my side, helping my investigation. Although exhausted, I could not sleep before paying one last visit to Vibben. Loris Vibben. Twice she saved my life. She saw herself as my aide and bodyguard, but in truth, she was more a companion and fellow warrior.
Get ready. Lift off for Sundome in 5.
For the first time in 6 years, I did not dream about Iklone. I dreamt of something else. Blinding dark came a revelation. His blank eyes were empty. Not like iClone's drones, but vacant, like an immense, starless distance. I had no idea who he was. At that point,
Eisenhorn.
Touchdown! Destination reached. Ready to disembark.
Damn bright place.
they have 11 months of pitch dark, so they light their habitat to an excessive degree.
They don't get many visitors in this season. Most of the ships here are local, trans-atmospheric. I make 3 non-locals aside from us. 2 trader launches and a private cutter.
I'd like to know how that bastard Eisenhorn got here, and how he was intending to leave again.
I'll find out. What about Vibben?
Do you know what her wishes were? Did she want her remains sent back to Tornish for burial?
I don't know Eisenhorn. She never told me either.
Take a look through her effects. See if she left any testament or instructions. Can you do that?
I'd like to do that. When are you meeting Carpel? Amos is waiting for you at the exit.
Amos had completed his report. Now it was time to face the locals. It was a short trip through the overbright streets to the custodial hall. The flowers?
From the hydroponic farms on East Dome 7.
Signifying?
Morning, same as the sashes. What happened last night is a major tragedy for this world. Yellow is their holy color. I believe the local religion is a solar belief.
The sun as emperor?
Common enough. Extreme here, for obvious reasons.
High Custodian.
They are all dead. All 12,142. Processional 212 is dead. None survived the trauma.
Hubris has my sincere sympathies, High Custodian.
Your sympathies? A great part of our ruling elite die in one night, and we have your sympathies to console us.
That is all I can offer, High Custodian.
Your arrogance astounds me, Off-Worlder. You bring this monster to our world, battle with him through our most sacred sanctums.
Wait. I came here to save you and deny Eisenhorn's plans. But for the efforts of myself and my companions, he might have destroyed more than one of your hibernation tombs. I broke none of your laws. I was careful to preserve your codes in pursuit of my work. What do you mean I brought this monster here?
We registered no off-world ship these past 20 days except yours, Eisenhorn. Did you choose Hubris because it was a quiet place where you might finish your feud undisturbed in the long dark?
Amos?
The supports are early Imperial Gothic in style, but
Amos, the report. Read this, Colonel. Read it thoroughly. Or should I read it aloud to all here assembled? Should I explain how I came here at the last minute when I learned Iclone was moving to Hubris? That I learned that only by astropathic decryption of a cipher message sent by Iclone 2 months ago? A cipher that killed my astropath in his efforts to translate it?
Inquisitor,
What about this? The evidence that Iclone has been planning a move against your world for almost a year. And this, gathered last night, that an unregistered starship moved in and out of your orbit to deliver Iclone 3 days ago, unnoticed by your planetary overwatch and the custodian guardians? You were wide open. He exploited you. Don't blame me for anything except being too late to stop him. As I said, you have my sincere condolences. And next time you choose to confront an Imperial Inquisitor, you may want to be more respectful. I'm excusing a lot, because I recognize the trauma and loss you have suffered. But my patience isn't limitless, unlike my authority. I expect your full cooperation as I extend my investigation.
But the matter is over.
I want your consent for me to continue, as well as your full cooperation. Iclone may be dead, but he was just the blade point of a long and still dangerous weapon.
What are you talking about?
If he speaks again without me knowing who he is, I will throw him out of the window. And I won't open it first.
This is Chasener Fishig of the Adeptus Arbites. I wanted him present.
Chasener.
Inquisitor, my question stands.
Merdin Iclone was a facilitator. A brilliant, devious man, one of the most dangerous I've ever hunted. He had no true allegiances. He worked to facilitate the grand schemes of others. What he was doing here on Hubris was to advance and develop someone else's plans. I must work back from Iclone, his men, from any clue he left, and dig my way into whatever greater secret darkness was employing him.
And for this you want the cooperation of the people of Hubris?
The people, the authorities, you, everyone. This is the Emperor's work. Will you shrink from it?
No, sir, I will not.
Excellent.
I grant my authority. Conduct your work thoroughly and quickly. I ask 2 things in return.
And they are?
You report all findings to me, and you allow the Chasener to accompany you. Fishig has the authority of the Arbites. Consider him a local guide.
And your ears and eyes. I will be grateful for his assistance.
Where first?
They wanted blood, I realized. They wanted someone to punish for the deaths. Or something to tell to the rest of the population when they woke to this disaster a few months later. I couldn't blame them.
Midas, prepare the combat simulator. We have a new crew member.
The combat simulator is ready.
Okay, Chasener Fishig. Let's see what you've got.
Not bad, Chaser. That's the mess you made of my hold.
Master, I have scrutinized all of Iclone's transmissions. They are all in cipher, and it will take some time yet for me to unlock them. But Brother Amos is... The key is in the lag. During your struggle with the recidivist, he was sending and receiving to someone with a 12.5-minute delay. That's another system.
You're sure?
There are 3 worlds between 11 and 15 minutes lag from Hubris. Thracian, Primaris, Cobalt 2, and Gudrun.
Cobalt is no more than an Imperial watch station. Nothing there.
Thracian is no surprise. That's where we followed him from. But Gudrun? Gudrun's a primary trade world. Old culture, old families. Old poisons. Can we be more certain?
I'm sure I can break the cipher, Master. At least for the coded headers, if not the actual text. Given enough time...
Lowink, tell Gregor about the Hubris transmissions.
There were messages sent from Hubris to iClone's ship before he arrived. Not so heavily encrypted. They are rather vague and indirect, but they do discuss something called the Pontius.
The Pontius? Do you have a location?
Why else do you employ us? Thorview 12011, on the west side of the dome, the high rent quarter, Aristoturf.
You said we were meeting at 2.
I did, didn't I? Just about to come and find you as it happens. We're going to Thorview.
Wait! The area is lousy with laser traps.
Most perturbatory. They are triggered by proximity. We will need to pick our way through carefully.
The wealthiest Hubrites kept winter palaces on the west perimeter of the Sun Dome. According to Chase and Fishik, they enjoyed both light and dark, as if that was something indulgent. They looked inwards to the lit dome, and had shutters that could be opened to view the dark landscape of the winter desert. It was a spiritual thing, Amos suggested.
Gregor, you should be able to hack this door's security with the Auspex.
Croaks wasn't wrong. She's a beaut. Board.
Who's there?
Inquisition. Who's here? What's your name?
Lisa B.
Full name. I wasn't concentrating on her especially, but there was something about her. An air. A tone.
Elizabeth Beckwin. Pleasure girl. I worked the Sundome these past 4 dormants.
You're here why?
They paid up front. Wanted a party. Oh, lords.
Get dressed. Stay here. I will want to talk to you.
Looks like a study, Inquisitor. We must surely find something revealing here. Simon Croats. That's not a name I know. I know some of these men. Those two are locals, low-grade laborers. Long list of petty convictions on both.
Hired muscle.
Seems to be your man's way. The others are off-worlders.
You found papers?
No, it's just a hunch. None of them have got any ID or markers, and I haven't found a cache anywhere.
What about this one?
I have rights.
You are in the custody of the Imperial Inquisition. You have no rights whatsoever. Your name?
I will not answer.
He had switched on some mental conditioning, no doubt taught by Eisenhorn. Mind tricks won't help you.
Go screw yourself.
Tell me your name.
Simon Croats.
Godwin Fishig.
Very well, Simon Croats. Where are you from?
Thracian Primaris.
What was your job there?
I was trade envoy for the bonded merchant guild of Synesius.
I knew the name. Guild Synesius was one of the largest mercantile companies in the sector and had links to the imperial nobility. And what work brought you to Hubris?
That same work. There is always trade to be had. Long-term contracts with the authorities on this world that require the personal touch.
And what brought you to these private apartments?
Namba Wilk, a local trader. He invited me for a mid-dormant feast.
This dwelling is registered to Namba Wilk, a trader, as he says, no priors. I don't know him.
What about Iclone?
I don't know any Iclone.
There was a ring of truth to his voice. He may well not have known Iclone by that name. There is an awful lot of your story that doesn't add up. You're found here consorting with recidivists who we can connect to a planetary conspiracy. There are charges of murder to be considered. We can continue this in far more intimate and comprehensive circumstances, or you can make me like you by filling in some details now.
I don't know what to tell you.
Whatever you know. About the Pontius, perhaps? Damn it. He was dead. Iclone had left fail-safes in the conditioning that would trigger at certain subjects. The Pontius evidently was one of those.
So we know nothing?
We know a great deal. Weren't you listening? For a start, we know the Pontius is the most precious secret they protect. The rooms were filling with the freezing wind from outside the dungeon. Had to escape, albeit too. Slowly dying to the icy cold. The charges were set off by the same spasm that killed Croats. I realized Fishik was now beginning to understand the resources and capabilities of the people we worked against. Their abominable crime at Processional 212 had demonstrated the scale of their malice. But he hadn't seen that firsthand. Arbite's squads moved into the dwelling and secured it while local Medicaid servitors patched our wounds. We returned to the gun cutter, taking Beckwin with us, but little new information. Save that the bonded merchant guild of Synesius may be worth questioning, and that the Pontius was a name with fatal consequences.
It's a common enough name in this subsector. I've turned up over 500,000 citizens with that forename. Another 200,000 with it as a middle name, plus another 40 or 50,000 spelling variants.
What about the definite article?
I have over 9,000 marks with that connection.
Pontius Glor,
Not on my lists,
because he's dead?
because he's dead. But it sort of makes sense.
Pontius Glor, the seventh son of Oberon Glor, a wastrel dilettante who fell into heresy, becoming an abominable disciple of chaos. For 15 long years he wrought discord and evil before being slain by the great Absalom Angelin. Gudrun was the ancestral home of the Glors. He may be dead, but the name and the connection were too obvious to ignore. Midas, find us passage to Gudrun.
That girl, Beckwin, is waiting in your room.
The Arbites say they will charge me with murder and conspiracy.
Sit down. I can make sure the charges are dropped. I have that authority.
Why would you do that? Even if you clear me, I can't carry on here. I'll be marked as trouble. I'll have to move on again.
You're not from Hubris?
No. I was born on Bonaventure. Got here by way of this and that. I've travelled a lot. Never stayed put for very long.
Because things get difficult.
That's right. I'd stuck it out here longer than anywhere. Now that's all screwed up.
Stand up.
Make your mind up.
I want to ask you some questions about the men who employed you at Thorview 12011. If you answer helpfully, I can cut you a deal.
What sort of deal?
I can take you to Gudrun. Or I can offer you employment if you're interested.
Employment? Even big bad inquisitors have needs, huh? That's fine.
You misunderstand. The services I have in mind will be new to you. Not the sort of work you're accustomed to.
You're an odd one, all right. Are all inquisitors like you?
No. Once Fischig returned Eiclone's possessions to us from the custodians, Loink and I prepared to conduct an auto-seance. I did not expect to glean much from the process, but it was one of the first techniques I'd learned as an Inquisitor. And it was possible that this close inspection of the psychic residues would reveal something to us.
Ready to begin whenever you are, Master.
I can feel the aftertaste of his death. Do not touch it. This has a thick, gelatinous aura. Loic, amplify me. De Sumner. I hear De Sumner as a barely audible whisper. It is cold. Colder than the ministrations of Dormant. Nothing. Nothing but malice.
There was danger. Vile danger. From the casket.
I felt it.
But the whole seance was unseemly, Master. As if distracted and spoiled by some factor.
I can explain. The girl we have aboard is an untouchable.
Keep her away from me.
Just prepping for takeoff. We'll be ready shortly.
And so we left the freezing world of Hubris behind, taking Elizabeth and Fischig with us. Betancourt piloted the gun cutter up out of the atmosphere to the Essene awaiting above us in orbit. This vast bulk clipper was a trader, running cargoes of fine wine from Hesperus to Hubris. Tobias Maxilla, the ship's captain, had been recruited by Betancourt to get us to Gudrun in 2 weeks.
Tobias Maxilla, at your service.
You run this route regularly?
For the past few decades, it's seasonal. Sameta, Hesperus, Tracian, Hubris, Gudrun, sometimes to Messina too. When Dormant finishes on Hubris, there'll be a lot more work there.
So you know these routes well?
Yes, Chastener, I know them well.
I don't think we need to start interrogating Master Maxilla yet, Fishing.
It's a beautiful ship, Maxilla. Classic as old pattern, unless I'm mistaken. You are, of course, correct, Captain Bentacore. From the shipyards of Tancred, no less. Wait till you see the staterooms. I have quite the collection of beautiful artifacts. Even some portraits from the Sameta School.
I must tell Amos, our savant. I'm sure he will be fascinated.
I will happily give him a tour once we are underway. One cannot pass up the opportunity of cultivated conversation. My entire crew is servitors, which makes them more reliable than pure flesh, but somewhat less loquacious.
Interesting. You don't trust humans?
Inquisitor! It is not a case of trust, simply one of dependability. The Immaterium does not forgive mistakes.
The Essene left Hubris later that day, executed the translation to the Empyrean effortlessly, and made best speed for Gudrun. Maxilla provided quarters for us all in his state apartments, but we spent most of our time on the cutter, working. By the 5th day, my sleep patterns had begun to return to normal. My clothes smoothed my breeze once more. The after image of his grim face. At least I assumed it was his face.
Eisenhorn? Feeling cold, Eisenhorn? You'll join these corpses soon. You cannot stop us, Inquisitor. Your Imperium's days are numbered.
We translated back into real space and entered the Gudrun system on the morning of the 8th day. Here, at the outreach of the system, we would pay our last respects to Loris Pippin. She had joined me in the first place to visit the stars, and that's where we would leave her.
Who was she?
A friend. A comrade.
Is this how she wanted to go?
I don't think she wanted to go at all. Mequin, there is something I have to tell you. I had been avoiding this conversation. She had no idea that she was an untouchable, a blank. Like all untouchables, her negative presence in the warp rendered her immune to psychic influence, which in turn made her a potent anti-psycho weapon. It also meant that she exuded an air of unpleasantness which rose to fear and revulsion in the psychically attuned. Her whole life had been shaped by this, and she had no idea. She did not take the news well. She knew now that her friendless, loveless existence was due to the fact that she was abnormal, and not surprisingly had little interest in the details of the job that I had in mind for her. In truth, I was relieved when Maxilla called me to the bridge.
Inquisitor?
Is there a problem?
I have performed legal maneuvers and entered the trade lane approach. All relevant data is in order and my tariffs are paid. But I've just been informed that we are to be boarded and inspected.
This is unusual?
It's been 10 years since anyone even suggested such a thing of my ship. I told you there was a founding festival underway. You can see considerable portions of Battlefleet Scarers on station. I think the military is being over-careful of its interests here just now. An inspection launch is on its way. I feel it would facilitate matters if they were met by a ship's master and an Imperial Inquisitor.
I'll agree to be present for the sake of order, provided you can assure me you have nothing to hide.
Inquisitor Eisenhorn,
Save your indignation for the inspection, Maxilla. Your assurance is all I require. If I assist you only to find you have some dirty secret or illicit cargo, you will have a great deal more to worry about in the Imperial Navy.
I
I have nothing to hide. I fancied you and I become, if not friends, then decent acquaintances, at least this voyage. I have shown you hospitality, and freely given information into your confidence. I am hurt that you still suspect me.
Suspicion is my business, Maxilla. If I have wronged you, my apologies.
Nothing to hide.
Tobias Maxilla?
I am Maxilla.
You have been notified that an inspection of your vessel is due. Furnish me with crew lists and cargo manifests. Your full cooperation is expected.
You haven't yet identified yourself.
We're naval security.
You could be anybody. I am Gregor Eisenhorn, Imperial Inquisitor. We will do this correctly, or not at all.
You're Eisenhorn? You're trapped. Make it easy on yourself.
Having escaped from the boarding party, I found myself underneath the airlock. There were too many enemies to take on at once. I would have to employ stealth to get back to Maxilla. Finding my path blocked, I used my will over any suspected foe.
What have I done?
The clams had to be disabled.
Alpha 2, come in. What's your status?
Alpha 2 to command. No sighting.
Stay alert. He's here somewhere. Spread out. Don't let him escape. Watch your back. He's close. I can feel it.
Sir, the retracting clams have destroyed our ship. There's no escape.
Bravo 1, come in. Head to the bridge. We need to take control of this ship. Ready up, men. I'm not leaving until the Inquisitor is dead.
There was no way past the guards. I would have to tackle them head on.
You're a mess. What the hell happened?
This wasn't an inspection. They were looking for me.
Naval security?
I don't think so. They lacked precision and didn't know procedure.
So my bare facts are revealed to you after all, Inquisitor.
What can I do to help you, Tobias?
I have summoned servitors to assist me. I'll be back on my feet soon enough.
I need access to your astropathic link. I need to contact Battlefleet Command and speed the closure of this matter. These men weren't a naval security detail.
Deserters, sir.
Deserters?
From the guard levies. You are aware a founding is presently underway on Gudrun. By order of the Lord Militant Commander, 750,000 men are being inducted into the Imperial Guard to form the 50th Gudrunite Rifles. Such is the size of the founding, and the fact that this is notably the 50th regiment assembled from this illustrious world, that planet-wide celebrations are taking place.
And these men deserted?
The muster was originally to have been 500,000. But the Lord Militant Commander increased the figure a week prior to the founding. He's preparing for a crusade into the Ophidian subsector, and well, then he found himself conscripted with little notice. Between you and me, the great festivities are partly an attempt to draw attention from the matter. There's been some rioting in barracks in the founding area, and desertions.
These are regular draftees? Infantrymen?
Yes.
Who could fly a pinnace?
The ringleader, one John O. Lingard, was a qualified orbital pilot. Worked on the ferries, as I said, a regrettable combination of events.
What about the demand for the inspection?
That came from the pinnace itself. Entirely unofficial. They spotted your ship and improvised.
I don't know who these men are. They may indeed have been guard draftees, but someone set them on this course to find me. Someone who covered their movements, provided materials and transport, and authenticated their business with this ship. Someone either in the battle fleet, or with an outrageous amount of access to its workings. No other explanation fits.
You're talking of a conspiracy.
I'm no stranger to underhand behavior, Madolthine. Nor am I unduly perturbed by attempts on my life, but this shows me my enemies are even more powerful than I suspected.
My lord, I
trust this matter is still held in the highest confidence.
Sir, yes, sir. The Lord Procurator recognized its delicacy. The details of this incident are known only to myself and my squad here. The Lord Procurator and his senior aides.
Then I'd like to keep it that way. I'd like my enemies to believe for as long as possible that this assassination attempt was successful. Can I rely on your cooperation, Prosecutor?
Of course, Inquisitor.
We left the Essene on the gun cutter bound for Gudrun's surface. Posing as a trade delegation from Samotar, we would meet with the Guild Synesius representative in Dorsey, the planet's northern capital. The ship which transported iClone to Hubris was docked in the festive capital, and according to Maxilla, its master, Efreed Tanokbre, was planetside. Betancourt went off to investigate, leaving us to our rendezvous with the Guild Synesius representative at the Dorsey Regency.
Sire Farchival, madam, had I known you were visiting, I would have cancelled meets to be here. Forgive my tardiness.
I forgive it. I'll be straight with you, sir. I represent grain merchants on Hesperus, a significant cartel of grain merchants.
What sort of sized cartel are we talking about, sire?
The entire western continent.
And you offer?
A gene-fixed strain of cereal that could be easily managed by many of your landowners now that their workforce is depleted. It is indeed a wonder.
The other guilds are bidding for this product, mister. I do hope Guild Synesius won't miss out.
Is this Xenos cultured?
Would that be a problem?
No, sire, not officially. The Inquisition is, of course, very tight about such things, but that is precisely why we offer these discreet interviews.
I'm pleased to hear it. So a Xenos-cultured cereal strain would not be hard to market?
Naturally not. There are collective enterprises eager for assured crop yields, especially those hothoused by alien technology.
Good. But I want the best return. Simon told me that House Glor should be the first to approach.
Simon?
Simon Croats, the Guild Synesius envoy I dealt with on Hesperus.
Quite so. You wish me to arrange a trade meeting with House Glor?
I think that's what I said, didn't I? What got into you?
You said we were moneyed merchants who expected the very best. I was just earning my salary.
Keep it up.
But he wasn't interested in taking on a cargo of Farchival or anyone else. Sorry, Eisenhorn, but he's dead now. He made the mistake of trying to lose me in a rowdy crowd of drunken cosmonauts.
No matter, Midas. Tomorrow we visit the House of Glor. I'm sure that will yield results. We retired for the evening, but it was to be a far from restful night. In the small hours of the morning, I was awoken by a voxed whisper from Betancourt.
Aegis, Rosethorn.
Rosethorn reveal.
Spectres invasive. Spiral vine.
I had to escape, but I couldn't use the door. Who could have tracked us to the hotel had our cover been blown?
Hotel engineering secure. Continuing our sweep. No sign of them yet.
Still quite out here, sir. Nothing to report.
Tang lookout. I'll be down shortly. Eisenhorn, be careful. The garden is swarming with assault troops. I should be able to get
What
into
was
a
that?
position to support you.
What's going on out here? Put the weapons down now. You resist? You have made a mistake, a fatal one. I have no doubt. I am Inquisitor Commodus Folk.
Well met, brother.
We have a conflict of jurisdiction.
Then let us resolve it. Explain to me why you invade my apartments in the dead of night.
My work brought me to Gudrun 8 months ago. An ongoing investigation, a complex matter. A rogue trader had come to my attention, one Efried Tanakbray. I had begun to close my net around him when he was scared into flight and got himself killed. Simple cross-checking revealed that a grain merchant called Farchable had somehow been instrumental in that incident.
Farchable is my cover here on Gudrun.
I am discomfited when I see Inquisitors holding to the soft, cunning ways of the radical. That way, heresy lies, Eisenhorn.
We need to share more information, Inquisitor. I'll take a guess and say your investigation somehow involves the Glaw family.
Indeed. Since Pontius Glaw's eradication, the House of Glaw made great efforts to distance itself from his heresy. But my master Angelin, rest his immortal soul, always suspected that the taint ran deeper and that the family was not free of corruption. But from time to time, over the past 200 years, I have turned my eye to them. 15 months ago, I uncovered traces of a cult of great scope and power, old and hidden, stretching across many worlds. Some traces led to Gudrun.
I hunt out a cabal controlled by a notorious facilitator. A cabal set on performing an abominable crime. The trail leads to Gudrun and the Glaws. You do the same with another heretical cell.
3 others, in fact.
3 then. And you see the shape of a far greater organization. From the facts as they stand, we are both approaching the same evil from opposite sides.
Since coming to Gudrun, I have rooted out and burned 2 heretical cells. I am reasonably sure of the activities of another 9. For months they seemed bent on preparation for some event. Abruptly, a matter of weeks ago, Their behavior changed. This would have been around the same time as your confrontation on Hubris.
Iclone's undertaking was also great, with extensive preparatory work. Yet at the 11th hour, something either went wrong or plans were suddenly changed. Though I defeated and destroyed him, his plans were really thwarted by the fact that the Pontius didn't arrive. What has your work revealed of House Glor?
I have visited them twice in 3 months. On both occasions, they have made every effort to answer my questions, allowing me to search the estate and their records. I have found nothing.
I fear perhaps that it's because they know they were dealing with an Inquisitor. Tomorrow, Sire Farshaval has a trade meeting with the Glors of their estate.
The Inquisition has a duty to stand together, firmly, against the archenemies of mankind. In the spirit of cooperation, I will wait and see what your dubious methods reveal. Precious little, Pigeon.
In the spirit of cooperation, Vogue, I will share all I learned with you.
You will do better than that. The Glors know me, but not all of my students. Haldane will go with you.
I don't think so.
I insist. I will not have years of work ruined by another agency such as yourself running roughshod through the matter.
Then he had better do exactly as I instruct him. We left Dorsey for the Glor Estates the next afternoon at 4. Our itinerary was to meet the representatives of House Glor that evening, an overnight stay and then a tour of the estates the following morning. After that, negotiations, if both parties were still interested.
Welcome to House Glor, Sire Farshaval.
My lady, Michaelis.
If you would kindly follow me.
I trust that your journey was pleasant. We find that the weather here is so much more clement than at the coast. I'm sure you will find your stay here most relaxing compared with Dorsey. I hear that the city is simply pandemonium right now, what with all the martial celebrations. Not that I get much chance to visit, you understand. House Glor may be one of the oldest families of Gudrun, but it is to the future that we look. So I am kept ever busy attending to the needs of prestigious trade delegations such as your own.
I have seldom seen such extravagance and riches outside of an imperial court, or Tobias Maxilla's staterooms. The grandeur of the house itself and its ostentatious decorations spoke of a family as wealthy as it was old. A cousin of the Glor family and his entourage were visiting from off-world, as were several other trade delegations, and a wealthy shipmaster called Gorgon Locke.
Welcome to our humble abode, Master Farshaval.
It is an honor, my Lord Oberon.
For a grain merchant from Smaita, it surely must be.
Urisan, commander of the House Militia and brother of Oberon, the current Lord Glor.
I don't know you, Rizal. I have met plenty of rich grain merchants.
Gorgon Locke, wealthy shipmaster.
But how many with such intriguing female company?
And Ecclesiarch Datso, representative of some missionary order from the sub-sector Edgewell Damas, which House Glor was sponsoring. This would be a long night. Well?
We ran sweeps of this wing while you were at dinner. Most of the rooms were spy-wired with vox feeds and a few picked sensors. Haldane has set up a small jammer to blind the spyware in our suite. To probe beneath the manor, we need to bring the gun cutter in closer, but we can't do that while their long-range scanners are active. If you can get to the top of the East Tower, you should be able to disable their scans. As far as we can tell, it's possible to get to the towers across the roof. But there are servo skulls patrolling constantly. You will need to be very careful.
If I'm not back in an hour, you can start to worry.
Scanner's down. Moving the gun cutter into position now. Eisenhorn, they have some kind of jammer operating. Its disruption signal is emanating from the guardhouse. You should be able to see the building. We won't be able to scan anything until it's gone, I'm afraid. You'll have to find some way down. Sorry, Gregor.
We have reports of an intruder. Stay alert.
And we're in. You're dead close, Gregor. There's an entrance just below your present position, but it could be concealed.
Sir, the scanners are down, and we have reports of an intruder.
Knock this wing down, and put extra patrols in the gardens.
Should we inform the claws?
No, they don't want to be disturbed. Find who's responsible. I want their heads or it's ours.
The sides of the underground base spoke of a complex and expensive operation that stank of corruption. The answers I needed to shut this tyranny down lay deeper into the base.
Secured with 2 weeks.
You said that a month ago. What's the matter? You're trying to inflate your fee.
I'm just trying to explain the delay. They're a difficult enough culture to deal with at the best of times.
That's why we pay you.
But we won't stand much further delay. We've invested a great deal in this matter. Time, funds, resources. It's meant holding back or cancelling other enterprises. Some of them very special to us.
You will not be disappointed, Lord. The Archeo-Xenon provenance of these items speaks for itself. The Saruthi are serious about their offer.
As I got closer, I could sense something terrible within. As I got closer, I could sense something terrible within.
step away from the Pontius scum. Don't make me repeat myself.
A face was looking down at me as I came round. A handsome face with blank eyes. The face started to say something. Then it combusted and melted away. And I realized it was just a dream. And I awoke properly into a world that was nothing but pain.
Enough! Don't kill him! Enough, I said, Locke!
Recognize this, Eisenhorn. Thought you'd wile your way in among us and introduce this crest and make us all cower in fear. Doesn't work that way with the House of Glaw. We're not afraid of your kind.
Then you are very foolish indeed.
You think your friends are going to help you? We've rounded them all up. They're just down the cell block yonder.
I'm perfectly serious. Others know I'm here, and you really don't want to be messing with a servant of the Inquisition, no matter how much at your mercy you think he is.
Don't worry. I don't underestimate the Inquisition. I'm just not afraid of it. Now, there are some questions I'd like answers to.
You got it wrong, Glaw. It's you who will provide the answers.
That is a Straussine neural scourge. Our friend Mr. Locke is quite an expert in its application. We were delighted when he volunteered to run this interrogation. Educated man like you knows all about pressure points. So does Straussy. But they like to do more than tap them. They like to burn them out. I studied with one of their sacred torturers for a year or so. This grip, for example, the one that's choking you. It's also paralyzing your respiratory system and stopping your heart. Just like that. I can stop your heart, burst your brain, blind you, so play along!
I could barely hear him. Blood was drumming in my ears, and explosive light and color patterns were fogging my vision.
He's halfway to death. I told you fools I wanted answers.
Ask me yourself.
What brought you to my house, Inquisitor?
The Pontius. It was a gamble, and I wasn't hopeful. But there was always a chance that the very word might auto-slay them as it had done Simon Croats in the Sundome on Hubris. As I suspected, it didn't.
You came from Hubris.
I stopped iClone's work there.
It was aborted anyway.
What is the Pontius?
If you don't know, I'm hardly going to tell you. I don't think he knows anything about the true matter. But I want to be certain. Can you be trusted to work efficiently, Locke? My index needle is lancing right into your parento-occipital sulcus, directly influencing your truth center. You cannot lie, no matter what. What do you know of the true matter?
Nothing.
What is your name?
Gregor Eisenhorn.
Where were you born?
Dekera's world.
Your first sexual conquest?
I was 16. A maid and a scholar.
Your darkest fear?
The man with blank eyes.
What do you know of the true matter?
Nothing. Gorgon Locke continued to question me for 4 hours. 4 hours that I know about. Beyond those, I recall nothing.
Lie still, Gregor. You're with friends. Lay still, old friend.
You know me, Amos. What do you know?
We're as good as dead. No wonder my master leaves this kind of work to you suicidal radicals. I just wish I hadn't agreed to join you.
Thank you for that, Haldane. Anyone else want to offer something less editorial?
We're in a prison cell under the west wing, to the rear, almost under the woodlands. They burst into our quarters after you'd been gone 3 hours and seized us at gunpoint. I memorized a careful note of the route we were taking to this place, and have mentally compared it with Midas's map, so I'm fairly sure of our location.
Are you really an Inquisitor, Sire Archibald?
Yes, I am. My name is Eisenhorn.
We're dead. You've taken us to our deaths. Michaelis, shut up.
I felt some pity for them. Guild Synesius was rotten to the core, and these men were corrupt. But they were only in this predicament because I duped them. What is it?
At Milodox, a 10-gram dose. You look like you need it.
I don't use drugs.
But Milodox is a painkiller and a mind clearer. I don't care if you do drugs or not, I want that in your system if that gate opens.
Why?
Have you ever been to a pits fight?
Prove yourselves.
The Inquisition will show you no mercy.
Kill them now! Kill them!
There's no escape, heretic.
The House of Glor will tear your bastard emperor from his throne.
Use your last breaths wisely and unfold your truth to me, or the Inquisition will teach you pain Gorgon Lock has yet to.
You cannot even begin to imagine the imperial misery House Glor will wreak. The worlds of the Imperium will blister and burn before Oberon and Promptus. Exalted will be the great darkness of Slaanesh.
Where's Amos? The girl?
Last I saw her, the Savant was bustling around somewhere making notes. I haven't seen Elizabeth since we freed them from the pit.
Oberon Glor?
No trace.
Gorgon Lock? The churchman, that's all.
They're all probably cinders in the craft that tried to escape. Decoys. The Glavian is right for my money. I'm glad naval security could serve you here, Inquisitor Eisenhorn. I hope it's restored your faith in the battle fleet.
I liked him. An honest man doing his best amid the conflicting political interests of Battlefleet Command and the Inquisition. In later years, I would come to value all Medalthine's honesty and discretion immeasurably.
Now whose methods seem wise?
Voke had brought a staff of nearly 50 with him. They had stripped the noble house of every shred of evidence they could find.
Much has been deleted, dumped, or burned. Much else is encrypted.
Iclone's mission to Hubris involving the Pontius was clearly important to them. But Oberon Glor told me explicitly that said endeavor had been aborted. Cancelled, because something more vital had come into play. They referred to it as the true matter.
It would explain why your foe Iclone was abandoned. After all his preparations, the Glors failed to deliver the Pontius as they had promised.
That fits. Dato and the shipmaster Locke were clearly deeply involved in this true matter. We need to establish more facts about them. They mentioned the Saruthi.
A Xenos breed outlying the subsector. Little is known of them and contact is forbidden. The Inquisition holds several investigations pending, but their space is uncharted.
But a rogue like Locke may well have established lines of contact with them.
Ordo Xenos must begin a survey of the Saruthi, but for now the matter is closed.
How do you reason that?
House Glor is destroyed. Its principal members and co-conspirators are slain. Whatever they were planning is finished.
I didn't even begin to argue with the old man. Voke was sure of his facts. His main failing, in my opinion. He was wrong, of course. I had returned to Dorsey in the care of the Imperial Hospice, where my many wounds and injuries were treated. Most of the cuts and gashes were superficial. Locke's work on me had left deeper scars. My face, they could do nothing with. Locke's promise had been lasting. I would never smile again, nor make much of any expression. Amos visited me to source information concerning the Glor's confederates. The ecclesiarchy had no record of a churchman named Datso. But I remembered that he had links to a missionary order sponsored by the Glors on the Edgeworld Damask. Astrogeographically, it lay just a few months' passage spinward of the uncharted regions of the mysterious Saruthi. Low ink extracted from my mind the likeness of the pipe smoking there. The image was copied and circulated through all branches of the investigating authorities. Low ink recovered an image of the Pontius, too, by the same means. Amos confirmed that the strange artifact was precisely the correct size and dimensions to fit into the cavity in Iclone's casket. The one recovered from Processional 212. This was what Iclone had been awaiting. What the mass murder in the Hubris Ice Tomb had been for. On the 10th day, a catastrophic series of incidents began to unfold. It began with the Ultima Victrix exploding at anchor above Dorsey. In the ensuing chaos, Battlefleet Scaras waged war against itself. 6 ships were lost. Captain Estrom's mobile battle group mysteriously vanished in the confusion. It took little time to ascertain that no amount of torture would make yourself talk. Any doubts that the Glor's authority had survived were dispelled over the course of the next week. Sabotage and riots spread across the subsector, and the Lord Militant's fleet was put to quelling revolt at home instead. Chaos reigned. Why, after what may have been centuries of careful, secret establishment, had the hidden cults risen, exposing themselves to the wrath of the Imperial military? I believed the answer was the true matter. The archenemy was embarked upon something so momentous that it was prepared to sacrifice all of its secret forces to keep the Imperium occupied. Damask was a harsh frontier planet at the very limit of the Helican subsector, one of 100 worthless, seldom visited places, and the location of the mysterious Datso's supposed mission.
I've been sectioning the landscape as you requested, Inquisitor. The atmosphere is hindering my scans, but I'm getting there. I just ran a sweep into the volcanic region south of you. It's hard to tell because it's active, but I think there are signs of structures and operating machines.
Gregor, this is a good vantage point from here. Take a look.
What the hell was that?
A giant. A horned giant in jeweled metal. God, Emperor. But it's huge.
Rosethorn.
Now is not a good time. The monster looked like he'd stood immobile in that spot for 1,000 years. Just a glance at him inspired terror, revulsion, involuntary feelings of dread that I could barely repress. A space marine. From the corrupted and damned Astartes. A Chaos Marine.
Let's find a way down.
Sanctum.
Sanctum meant that he detected a ship or ships emerging from the immaterium in solar space and was withdrawing to a concealment orbit behind the local star. Which meant that all of us on the planet were on our own.
This area has clearly been excavated. We are no longer in just natural caverns. This is old, but the damage is new.
The wheel graves on Bonaventure. There were famous old sites in the Western Hills, made by races before man. They had been decorated once, I suppose, but the surfaces had been cut away, ransacked by later hands. It reminds me of this.
There are many who make a trade in archaeological plunder, and if it's Xenos artifacts, the penalty is high.
I'd overheard Glor and his allies mention archaeo-xenon materials. Perhaps this was such a site, connected in some way to the as-yet mysterious Saruthi.
You didn't have to kill him, Locke.
His life was worth nothing, and his clumsiness cost us much.
I can repair the tablet.
Listen, let us handle the worker slaves and you attend the Xenos artifacts. The sooner we have extracted the last of these Saruthi tablets, the sooner we can get away from this infested backwater.
Well, that's the last of today's batch packed up. We'll be finished soon enough.
Okay, let's head back up to the surface. Beating slaves makes for thirsty work.
I began to feel the oppressive throb of the psychic veil shrouding North Qualm. As we penetrated it, I listened out for the sound of alarms or activity. But none came. Though she didn't know it,
Beckwin was already doing her job by creating a dead spot that allowed us to press on invisibly. I made sure none of us strayed too far from her aura of influence. Without speaking, I could hear his voice in my head. His presence was so foul, I barely managed not to vomit.
You will not deny me any longer, you human filth.
You will show me respect, Mandragore. Respect.
My masters await the perfect completion of this task. They will not idle their time while you vermin
will
guard
abide by our pact. You will keep to our agreement.
Was du begriffen haben, Jim-Tod? There's nothing space to carry this
Organ worthy of Slaanesh, champion of the Emperor's children. Your presence here honors us, but you will not seek to harm us. Never raise your hand to us again. Never.
Datso was simply the most potent psycho I had ever encountered. With his mind alone, he had forced down one of the vilest of the traitors, a space marine sworn to the corrupt service of chaos.
Eisenhorn.
In that second, I realized that wherever Beckwin had gone, it had left us exposed, outside the veil of an untouchable aura.
This way. Find him! Where is he? Not there.
What are you waiting for? Kill them!
Keep looking. Over there. Where is he? Come on!
The ash cannot hide you from my mind, Inquisitor.
We've spotted the girl. I'm on my way.
You've made a huge mistake.
I see you, wife.
I must find Elizabeth swiftly to nullify this psychic attack. The sight of the foul Mandragore had sent Beckwin fleeing in blind panic. Like me, she'd made the mistake of looking at the runes and marks on his vile armor. Unlike me, she hadn't had the sense to look away. She couldn't speak. She barely registered us. But we were back inside her muzzling aura and out of Datso's clutches for the moment.
What now? They'll regroup quickly enough.
Midas is coming. We have to get back to the landing yard. It's the only area big enough for him to set down in.
He's going to fly into this. He'll be killed. And even if he does pick us up, they'll launch interceptors from the fleet. They'll launch them the moment he powers up for takeoff.
It'll be tight. Thorn attending Aegis, main yard area.
Aegis, main yard and 5. The heavens fallen.
We have to keep going. Please.
As I got closer, I could sense something terrible within.
We have to get out of here. We have to get the hell out of here.
Come on! Eisenhorn, what are you playing at?
These are Glor's things.
Aegis, main yard in 2.
Got it. Let's move.
I heard... Get out of here. Stop playing games. Eisenhorn is here. Die!
Not a step closer. 1 second fuse. Another step and all this will be gone.
It is sick, do as he says. You can't hope to escape, Inquisitor.
Back off. Grab the crate. Midas, set down. Hatch open.
Understood. Be advised, there are 3 Navy interceptors inbound. Arrival in 3.
Standoff, Inquisitor.
Get your men to lower their weapons, even the ones I can't see. Midas, train the wing cannons on myself and the chaser. If anything happens to us, open fire.
Confirmed.
Shoot us and the crate is vaporized.
Weapons down.
Now call off those interceptors. Order them right back to their carrier. Now!
The interceptors have aborted their run. They're turning back.
What now?
That will be. We had the upper hand for the moment. Didn't dare shoot or rush us. Beckman was looking down so any other second. An answer or two.
Eisenhorn.
This material is Xenos from an old Saruthi site. Clearly has value to you, because it must have value to the Saruthi. You're recovering it for them in return for what?
I'm not about to tell you anything. I'm not even going to confirm your suppositions. Therefore, my question remains. What now?
We leave. Unmolested.
So put down the crate and leave.
This crate is the only thing that's stopping you from obliterating us. It comes with us as insurance.
Unacceptable. We would lose it forever. This man is our blood bone. We could never recover the artifact, even if we agreed to save passengers.
Of course not. Just as you would not honor any deal struck with me, no agreement can be made between us. Which is why this crate comes with me. We have no other surety.
We're not here to offer you surety, Flesh Master. Only death.
We should keep him out of the negotiations. We are leaving with the crate because you will destroy us otherwise.
No. You are tripping on your own smooth logic. If we are to lose those artifacts forever, I'd rather it was here, with your deaths as consolation. If you try to leave with the crate, we will fire anyway and damn the consequences. Set them down, and I will give you 10 heartbeats to leave.
I could tell it was no bluff. They would go only so far to protect their trinkets, and they were not fools. They knew I would never return these items. If we tried to board with the crate, they would fire at once. Throw the crate down when I say.
Are you sure?
Do as I say. Midas?
Ready droid. Ready cannons.
Now!
Were it not for Betancourt's Glavian pilot skills, and the close proximity of Obol, Damask's smallest moon, we would have been annihilated by the heretic fleet. The ships of Captain Estrom's mobile battle group, which had vanished at the opening of the Helican Schism. We lost the 6 fighters they sent at us in Obol's vast caves. After 40 hours of waiting in the dark and cold, with all systems powered down, a tremor in the fabric of the fathomless immaterium told us they had left. A further 26 hours later, Maxilla brought the Essene to save us.
How do you fare, Inquisitor?
Still in one piece, though it was close.
I'm sorry I had to desert you, but you saw the size of that battle group.
I'm hoping you can tell me where it went.
Naturally. The navigators have analyzed the warp wake of the departing fleet and made a number of algorithmic computations. The heretics are moving out of the Helican subsector, out of Imperial space itself, into the forbidden stellar territories of a breed I believe in known as the Saruthi.
I had guessed as much. But that in itself is a considerable area, more than a dozen systems. We need specifics.
Our charts have it as KCX-1288. Under optimal conditions, it's 30 weeks away from there. Of course, they will presume us to be following. Even if they think you're dead, they'll know you must have had a starship bringing you. One they couldn't find.
What do you know of the Saruthi and their territory?
Nothing. I've never traveled there.
I thought this a curiously brief answer for a man so usually talkative.
So, apart from our knowledge of where they're going, have we any other advantages?
We have the Pontius.
We are almost done with our preparations to activate the foul mechanism.
Almost?
Yes. Even in its dormant state, the device is releasing energy. I am concerned we may not be able to stabilize the device for activation safely. Activate the casket. Trigger the power source.
Pontius Glory.
What have you woken me to?
What is the last thing you remember?
Promises. Promises. Where is your reserve?
Temper, temper. I am Eisenhorn, Imperial Inquisitor. You are my prisoner, and you only enjoy cognitive function because I allow it. You will answer my questions. Amos, disconnect this menace and prepare it for disintegration.
Wait!
I know that your life and intellect were preserved in this device, Pontius. I know you have waited 2 centuries, trapped in a bodiless state, desperate to be made whole again. That is what your family promised you, wasn't it?
You wasn't promised. Intended to be so. The methods were prepared.
To sacrifice the nobility of hubris so that their life energies might be siphoned off into you through this casket. To give you the power to create a body of yourself.
You promised.
Uricel and the others abandoned you, Pontius. They abandoned the Hubris project at the last minute in favor of something else. They are now all in the custody of the Inquisition.
They would not.
I'm sure they wouldn't. Unless it was something so vital, so unmissable they had no choice. You know what that would be, wouldn't you? What would be more important to them than you, Pontius Claw?
They are not.
What? Who are not?
Imagine if you had them, you would not be answering these questions. They are free and you are harmless.
Not at all. You know how it is. So many lies, so many conflicting stories. Your pitiful family trying to sell each other out in exchange for freedom. I came to you for the truth.
No. Incredible, but no.
You know what it is, Pontius?
No.
You know what it is. They woke you from time to time to keep you informed. Woke you from the oblivion that surrounds you in that globe. Beneath House Glor, for example, in that chapel they built to contain you. I saw you there. You subdued me with your power.
I will do so again.
You know what it is. They told you.
No.
You're lying.
Not much use then.
We're just beginning.
Perhaps I should try.
How? Exactly.
I've scoured every data slate we have and found almost nothing on the Saruthi. Most perturbatory. It might be worth speaking to Maxilla again,
Tobias,
Yes, Gregor.
tell me about the Saruthi. Tell me why you claimed to know nothing of them when I told you we were heading into their territory.
Because such places are forbidden. Because you are an Inquisitor. And it does not do to admit transgressions to one such as you.
You have aided me eagerly and generously up to now, Tobias. I suspected your motives at first, a detail for which I have apologized. I see now you're as keen to serve the Emperor of Mankind as I. It troubles me that you would withhold information now.
It does more than trouble me, Gregor. It has plagued me. A crisis of conscience.
It is time to speak, then. Imperial knowledge of the Saruthi is scant, and as you say, forbidden. I am more than aware that rogue traders know a great deal more about the outside systems and their species than we do. You are no rogue, but you are of the merchant elite. I think it unlikely that you have never come across any information pertaining to this Xenos breed.
As a young man, over 90 years ago, I traveled into Saruthi space. I was a junior crewman aboard a rogue trader called the Promethean. I never left the bows of the ship, or went to the surface of any worlds. All I knew was the miserable duration of the voyage. As I understand it, it took the senior officers a long time to find the Saruthi at all, and even then they were less than forthcoming. The third officer, a man I knew reasonably well, confided to me that the Saruthi played tricks on trade envoys. It tormented them.
Tormented how?
Their worlds were eerie, disarming, uncomfortable. Something about the angles, the officer said.
The angles?
As if something ill and twisted had infected their dimensions. We came back empty-handed after a year. Many of the crew quit and left the Promethean on our return, especially when the captain declared he was going to try again. I quit then too, but only because I couldn't face another year below decks. Perhaps you can see why I was unwilling to tell you these things before. Because there is nothing useful to tell, except to incriminate myself by admitting I'd gone beyond.
In future, do not hold information back from me.
I will not.
Tobias, You say the voyage of the Promethean was long and fruitless, and the crew members were tormented by the beings they eventually encountered. Do you not have any schemes about returning there?
Of course. But I am bound to serve you as an agent of the Emperor, and I will do so without question. Besides, part of me is curious.
Curious?
I want to see the Saruthi with my own eyes.
I tell you much, you tell me little. That was not the deal, Pontius. How can I communicate your will to your allies if I know nothing of the true matter?
You should go before they discover you. Eisenhorn is becoming suspicious.
Tell me, Pontius. We're nearly there. The window for communicating with your allies is closing.
The necrogen. That is what we are after, Elizabeth. The necrotooth.
The necrotooth. I had wondered what could be so precious, so important as to galvanize our enemies so, make them risk so much. I had my answer. Legend said the last extant copy of that abominable work had been destroyed millennia before. Except that by some means, in antique ages past, a copy had come into the hands of the Saruthi race, and now they were preparing to trade it back to Glor's Imperial heretics. The Essene burst back into real space, deep within system KCX-1288 on the 31st week of the voyage. The local star was a vast, swollen fireball, pulsing and retching out its last few million years of life. Alarms and sirens shrilled as the Essene was battered by immeasurable radiation and waves of searing star debris. The whole system was in a state of collapse.
Sea is made of liquid ammonia. See?
What?
The waves are moving out from the shore.
It was true. So simple. So wrong. My confidence with them. The structure was similar to those that formed the pathway that led the Essene to this accursed planet. Presumably this one served the same purpose. There was no wind here a moment ago. Not the slightest breath of air. The planet exuded an overwhelming sense of wrongness. From these great irregular polygons to the odd angled tiles in the sand. Like some subtle, ingenious trap devised to slowly break the mind.
you hear that?
As you instructed, it's not going to... Say again.
Maxilla, repeat. What was that?
An echo? Some kind of transmission anomaly caused by the atmosphere and...
It's not a conversation I've ever had. Why would the Xenos be executing Gudrunite guardsmen out here? Had the oddness of this place undone their very mind? Regardless of the reason, the they seem divided against themselves. We can surely take advantage of this. Weeks before, as we departed Damask, I had sent my request for assistance to Gudrun via Loink, astropathically. I had outlined as much of the situation as possible, and hoped the Lord Militant would send a military expedition to support me. My hopes were not in vain. How goes the uprising?
Well enough, Inquisitor. We understand the Lord Militant has declared the Helican Schism over and quashed, though pacification wars are still raging across Thracian.
Losses?
Considerable. Mainly to the population and materials of the world affected, though some fleet and guard units have taken a beating. Lord Glor's treason has cost the Imperium dear.
Glor's treason has cost him his life. His body rots on a nameless world in the system behind us.
Your master will be pleased.
We have read your preliminary report, Brother Eisenhorn. Quite a tale it is. You pursued Glor's heretic fleet to this Emperor-forsaken outer world, certain that they planned to trade with the Xenos breed, an item whose very nature would threaten the safety and sanctity of our society.
Indeed, Lord Brother. The aliens possessed a single copy of a profane and forbidden work we know as the Necrotooth.
Is that confirmed, Brother Eisenhorn?
Lord, it is. I saw it with my own eyes and felt its evil. The Saruthi came upon a lost copy thousands of years ago and agreed to exchange it with the Glor Cabal for certain artifacts of their own culture.
Preposterous! The Necrotooth is a myth, and a wretched one at that. These twisted alien filth have fabricated this as a lure for the gullible heretics.
It has always been plain that the stakes in this matter have been astonishingly high. Though I am shocked by Brother Gregor's news, I'm not surprised. Only an icon as potent as the Necrotooth could have set this bloodshed in motion.
But the Necrotooth... such a thing...
Were they successful, Brother Eisenhorn?
No, Lord Brother, they were not. The aliens were driven off, and most of the heretics' advance guard, including Lord Glor and Mandragore, a blasphemous child of the Emperor allied to his cause, was slain.
Some heretics escaped your purge.
2 key conspirators, brother. The trader Gorgon Locke, who I believe was instrumental in forging the original contact between the Saruthi and Glor's Cabal, and an ecclesiarch named Datso, who I would see as the spiritual force behind their enterprise. They fled from the fight, rejoining the waiting elements of their fleet, and left this system.
Destination?
It is still being plotted, Lord Brother.
Even if they're running, we cannot permit them to escape. They must be hounded down and annihilated.
No one has asked the most important question of our heroic Brother Eisenhorn. What happened to the Necrotooth?
I did what any of us would have done, Brother Molitor. I burned it.
Emperor, save us.
Enough! State your objection, Brother Molitor, quickly and simply.
Eisenhorn must suffer our sternest censure for this act of vandalism. The Necrotooth may be a foul and prescribed work, but we are the Inquisition, Lord. By what right did he simply destroy it? The contents of the Necrotooth might have given us insight into the arch-enemy of mankind. Incalculable insight. Eisenhorn has disgraced the very heart of our sacred Inquisition.
Brother Songard.
My lord, I agree. It was a desperate and rash action by Eisenhorn. I may applaud his rigorous effort in thwarting Glor and his conspirators, but this erasure of occult law earned only my opprobrium.
Brother Volk, what's it?
Is this a court, my lord? Am I on trial?
No, brother, you are not. But the magnitude of your actions must be analyzed and considered. Brother Volk?
Eisenhorn was right. The Necrotooth was an abomination. It would have been heresy to permit its continued existence.
Brother Endor.
Gregor Eisenhorn has my full support. From your moaning, Molitor, I wonder what kind of man I'm listening to. A radical, certainly. An inquisitor, I have my doubts.
You knave! You horse and bastard knave! How dare you!
Very easily. What secrets did you both think we could learn? Except perhaps how to pollute our minds and boil away our sanity. The Necrotooth has been forbidden since before our foundation. We need not know what's in it to accept that prohibition. Tell me, do you need to actually contract Ulrin's pox yourself to know that it is fatal?
The objections of my brothers are noted. I myself commend Eisenhorn. Given the extremity of his situation, he made the best decision.
Thank you, my lord.
Let us retire now and consider this matter. I want to hear proposals for our next course of action in 4 hours.
It didn't take long for the astronavigators to finish plotting the course of the heretic fleet. They were going to 56 Izar, a system deep in the heart of Saruthi territory. I decided to see if we could learn more from our captive, Malahite.
Sorry, sir. This area is off limits.
What? Don't be absurd.
By order of the Inquisition, none may pass.
Stand aside.
Yes, Inquisitor. Another Inquisitor?
Throne of Terror, he's dead! What in the name of the Emperor is going on here?
I was concerned for your health, brother. The injuries you have suffered, your fatigue. Malahide had to be interrogated with all speed, and thought I would ease your burden by commencing the,
Molitor! Malahide is my prisoner.
Please, Inquisitor Eisenhorn, this is an unfortunate mistake. We will make reparations. Put away your weapon.
Every inch of skin had been peeled from his body. Whatever secrets they'd torn from him, they wouldn't divulge to me. Malahide's corpse was placed in a stasis field, and Lord Rorken demanded an auto-seance be performed forthwith. I lead, but with Volk's help, and Loink channeling the astropathic choir. Malahide. Malahide. Come to us.
Malahide, in the Emperor's name we command you!
I am here. See what we have dug up.
Will you cooperate?
I have not time. I must work.
You have plenty of time.
Do you know where we are? This is a fringe world. I forget the name. I discovered something of great import here.
It is of later events that we wish to speak.
This is where it begins. Glor will recruit me for this.
Where will it lead? Tell us of the Saruthi.
You can offer me nothing. I am dead.
We can save you from the fate doomed to you by the House of Glor.
The Saruthi. They had an empire, you know. Its history is related on these octagonal tiles. It was old and spanned 40 worlds when humans fleeing persecution on Terra unwittingly delivered them the Necrotooth. It warped them, infected their culture like a pathogen. Madness and civil war tore their civilization apart.
They are corrupted as a species?
There is no saving them, Inquisitor. Unlike the other harmless Xenos your ignorant order detests, the Saruthi truly are an abomination. A chaos breed.
And their resources? Their military capability?
I have no idea. They abandoned spaceship technology centuries ago. The Necrotooth corruption made their technology redundant. They can undo the angles of space and time, slip between dimensions, and construct temporary four-dimensional environments.
Like the one where the trade was to take place?
Yes. They built the Tetrascape inside KCX-1288, specifically for us. How was the deal arranged? It is getting dark.
We have only so much time to save your soul. How was the deal arranged?
Locke, the rogue trader, he made contact with them. They agreed to trade in exchange for the return of artifacts and treasures from worlds they had abandoned and no longer had access to.
But the Necrotooth must have been precious to them.
It was in their souls, in their minds, woven into their genetic code by them. The book itself was incidental. Eisenhorn, something is not quite right here.
But the Necrotooth is destroyed. The trade prevented, and House Glor is shattered and defeated. So why are Locke and Datso leading their fleet into Saruthi territory?
Do you not feel the cold?
What are they doing?
Repairing the damage you've done. Their masters will not be happy.
The children of the Emperor?
Yes. They could not achieve their aims without that help, and now the children of the Emperor will be most displeased. How does one placate the damned?
By obtaining another Necrotooth.
Well done. Brains at last.
The Saruthi happily traded back their human copy because they had their own.
Bravo, Inquisitor. Eisenhorn, the sky! Now, are you men of your word? Can you save me from damnation? Eisenhorn!
Get help! This chaos spawn must be purged! Chaos filth, there is no sanctuary here! Be gone, heretic! Be still. You cannot escape me, abomination! By the Golden Throne, I will commit you to the Abyss. Together, brother, let us purge this blasphemy! Malahite cared naught for his soul. He wanted only revenge, and to hold us there long enough to unleash its instrument, the blighted spawn of chaos. Loink had not the strength for the astropathic rite, but his knowledge of my abilities had thrust that duty upon him. For this he died. That not more were killed is a miracle. I spent most of the 10-week journey recovering from the psychic exertion and wounds inflicted by that terrible episode. The others trained relentlessly in anticipation of the horrors awaiting us on 56 Izar. The war had already begun. The heretic fleet had arrived 2 days ahead of us and begun its assault of the planet. Their 13 ships had blockaded 56 Izar and sent 2 heavy destroyers to intercept us the moment we exited the warp. The Emperor's hammer and will of iron met them head-on. Explosions lit the void as the 2 fleets closed to short-range fighting. A blizzard of dropships launched from our side. Most of the dropships were the grey landing boats of the Imperial Guard, jets firing as they hammered down into the cloudy atmosphere of 56 Izar. But scattered among them were a handful of scarab-black landing craft and drop pods of the Death Watch chapter. The counter-invasion had begun. Within the first hour, we managed to land 100,000 Mirepoix light elite infantry on the surface, almost half of the motorized armored brigades. Behind the main landing force came the inquisitorial squads. I had control of one. The others were led by Endor, Shongard, Molitor, and Lord Inquisitor Rorken himself.
3 seconds to impact. Touchdown.
Jerris, take point.
For the Emperor!
My own forces. Purge 2, deploying on surface at chart mark 7.
Understood, Purge 2. Purge 1 and Purge 4 report safe landing and deployment.
Jerris's Gudronite conscripts had been forged into soldiers on the alien anvil of KCX-1288. Bequin had also been transmuted by experience in the months since I'd first met her on Hubris. A hard, serious woman had replaced the scatty, selfish pleasure girl from the Sundome.
Brother Eisenhorn! The edifice is clear!
In the name of the Emperor, advance! There were no doors or entrances, and those who had come before us had tried to blast their way through the lustrous surface. Squad, the trials we've been through may be as naught compared to the blasphemies that lie waiting within this Xenos structure. But the Imperium depends on us. If the children of the Emperor attain the Necrotuch, there will be little to go back to. Think to your training and gird yourselves. May the Imperium prevail! Into the gate! It was warm, and the smell of licorice was pungent and intense. Sounds echoed around the alien structure from no discernible source. The odd sense of space and time being undone was ever present, as with all of the Saruthi artifacts we'd encountered.
Sir, there's no way forwards.
Stay close, and keep your wits about you. I could detect a psychic resonance from this strange Saruthi technology. We exited the Tetragate, but the Gudrunites did not. Who knows in what alien location they found themselves stranded. The sense of dislocation was all pervasive. It seemed as though sights and sounds of other times and places leaked through these alien Saruthi angles. Coupled with the intense humidity, the effect was deeply impressive. These structures bear a similarity to those we saw earlier. They were devoid of any kind of charge. It seemed as though we'd entered some kind of ornamental garden. What purpose could these gardens serve? It was hard to see that alien place as a fertile bed for anything save insanity.
Brother Eisenhorn, how goes the attack?
Heretic supply pods. Keep an eye out for more of these. They may be useful. Where's that figure going? Why does it look so familiar?
That's me! Don't shoot! God Emperor, save us! You're putrid souls!
Necrotu! I see the Necrotu!
Oh no! Please, by the Golden Throne, no!
Purge 2! This is Purge 2! The children of the Emperor are here! And by the Emperor's blessing, the titanic form of a Death Watch space marine appeared. Were it not for his timely intervention, I would surely have been dead. Seeing ourselves like some strange reflection? Dead we passed had signs of branding on their faces. Chaos marks burned into the skin by evil rather than heat. Admiral Spatian had hoped that some of the heretic forces, especially the Gudrunite Imperial Guard, might yet be restored to the Imperial cause. Like Jarrus and his men, most had been unwilling pawns caught up in Estrom's treason, and the fleet tacticians had presented models of victory wherein Locke and Datso found the bulk of their ground forces turning against them. Such a hope was dashed. The minds of these good men had been burned away and poisoned by chaos. The heretics had enforced the loyalty of their stolen armies.
Eisenhorn, you have entered the wrong edifice.
What happened here, Haldane?
A battle. We came upon it as it was raging. When Inquisitor Endor saw this wretch, he drove us into the fight to reach him. It was a blur after that.
Where's Endor?
Gone. Gone after Locke.
Which way? Does Locke have the Necrotuch? The Saruthi Necrotuch, I mean.
No, but he has the primer.
The what?
That's who got it out of this thing somehow. A language primer. A translation tool. Without it, the Saruthi version of the text is unreadable to us.
How?
With his mind. Can't you feel the afterburn of the psychic effort? A polyhedron. Irregular. Small. Made of pearl. It seemed to me it just came out of the block into his hands. Materialized. I saw it happen as I fought my way to them. But the effort destroyed his mind. Endor cut him down. He hadn't the strength to resist.
How do you know it was this primer?
I read it in his dying mind. Like I said, there's no resistance left there. See for yourself. Where are you going, Inquisitor?
After Locke and Endor. To do what I can. This is Purge 2. We have the Necrotuch primer, and are in pursuit of Locke. This is Purge 2. Titus, do you read me? Titus! 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 It's Eisenhorn, do you read?
For the love of the Emperor! I need help!
The Xenos Necrotuch. The chamber stank with its evil. The licorice smell, so rich and cloying it made us gag. This was not Saruthi handiwork, but a touch of pure chaos spawned by the Necrotuch, infecting the Xenos fabric of its sanctum. Titus!
Gregor! There were too many of them, Gregor. I was ambushed.
Don't move, Titus. We'll get you out of here.
Locke is just beyond these heretics.
You will beg before you perish, scum!
Come, Eisenhorn, is your face not dead enough yet?
Be gone, heretic! This be your reckoning!
No!
So perish all heretics indeed. Turn him so he can see me. Such valor, Gregor, such dedication. I thought you'd be the one to find the prize. Let him speak.
What are you doing, Molitor?
Recovering the priceless Necrotuch, of course. We really can't have you destroying another copy now, can we?
We?
There are many. who believe mankind will benefit more from the study of this artifact than from its destruction. I have come to safeguard those interests.
Rorken will never allow... You will burn for...
My estimable Lord Brother Rorken will never know. Feel how this place quakes. See how the roof splinters and collapses. 10 minutes ago, I signaled to the fleet that the primary objective was achieved. I gave the code for Sanction Extremis. They believe the Necrotooth had been found and safely disposed of. Our forces are withdrawing. With all haste, the batteries of the fleet have begun to level these Xenos places. No one will know that the divine Necrotooth has been carried off safely. Not a shred of evidence, nor any voice of dissent. How brave of you to give your life in the assault on 56 Izar. Your name will be remembered on the roll of honor, I assure you. I'll see to that myself.
Bastard!
Fetch it for me. We would be well to leave promptly.
It is useless.
What?
Unreadable. Locked within an impenetrable Xenos language code.
No. Impossible. Break the code.
Would that I could. It is beyond even my ability.
There must be a means of translation.
He has a primer. The only primer. He's trying not to think about it. But I can see it in his mind. Look in his coat pocket.
Devious to the last, Gregor, you whoreson wretch.
Al-Barathath!
Code words. Trigger words. The pair of servants who'd remained by his side sprang forward, their robes shedding away. Arco-flagellants. Heretics reprogrammed and rebuilt with augmetics and bionics to serve as murderous slaves. The trigger words woke them from their calming states of bliss and plunged them into maniacal rages.
Kill them! Kill them!
Eisenhorn! Eisenhorn!
Stay at my side.
We're gonna die!
Elizabeth, come back!
Oh my god, my god! We've got to escape!
Stay close to me! Watch out!
We've got to escape!
The primer, you whoreson bastard! Give me the primer!
I gave him a full clip of bolt rounds instead.
I would like the primer now, please, Gregor.
What are you?
This is no place for introductions.
Humanoid.
Very well. My name is Cherubel. Now, that primer. Time is ticking away.
Time will always tick away. Who made you?
Made me?
You're a demon host. A conjured thing. Tell me who made you and who commanded you and Molitor to come after this prize, and I might give you the primer.
Let us both be abundantly clear about this, Gregor. You will give me the primer. Either you will hand me the primer now, or I will come over to you and take it. And break every bone in your body, and rape that girl at your side, and break every bone in her body too. And then drag your jiggling carcasses down into the chamber below, and string you both up on the hooks, and burn out your agony centers as I wait for the bombardment to flatten this place. Your choice.
It's been in my dreams for a long while now. Why is that?
You are gifted, Gregor. And time is not the arrow that humans like to think it is. A second in the warp would show you that. But a second in the four-dimensional habitats of the Saruthi should have proved it too. Your dreams were just nightmares of something yet to happen.
Who made you?
The Holy Inquisition made me, Gregor. A brother of yours made me. Now, for the last time, give me that. Clever of you to find an untouchable to cancel me out. How did you manage that?
Fate, like time, is not linear, Cherubel. Surely you know that. I found Bequin in the same way that the dreams of you found me.
I like you, Gregor Eisenhorn. So very challenging and stimulating for a human. I wish we had leisure to discourse and break bread. Give me the primer. You are a man of singular dedication, Gregor. I would have enjoyed killing you when the day and hour came, but you're dead already. This edifice is 240 seconds away from destruction. Cherish this. You've won. Take that consolation to the afterlife.
Rose Thorn from Aegis. Above and, well, above, for Emperor's sake. Damn this glossier crap. Move!
40 weeks of voyage through the Immaterium had dulled our sense of victory. The fleet dispersed at Thracian Primaris, and the last I saw of Sergeant Jerus was a waving hand across a smoky, beery bar. Lord Rorken had called for a tribunal of inquiry, and the High Lords of Terror were awaiting a full account of the matter. The identity of the force behind Molitor and his demon host remained a mystery. And though Lord Rorken was as anxious as myself to find an answer, I doubted any would readily emerge. The question might fester and stagnate unanswered in the slow, unwieldy bureaucracy of the Inquisition for years. I would not allow that. As soon as I was free to engage upon another case, I would dedicate myself to finding Cherubel's master. The beloved rule of man had come close to great calamity thanks to his scheming. I would not forget the Saruthi. They were an object lesson, if any were truly needed, of how an entire advanced culture might be consumed by chaos. Cherubel still haunted my dreams, after echoes or ripples of the future. I came to understand that time changes everything, and the line between light and dark is dimmer to old eyes. Are the people who lived in the past the same as those who live now? Am I the same? Come, Cherubel.